Hello aspirants, looking at current affairs for 23rd March. The news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 12. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, as waste goes out, a dying river returns to life. So this is regarding the river Kuttamperur. So this has presently been revived, a stretch of it. This is a river in Kerala. It's a tributary of Pampa and Achenkovil rivers. Pampa and Achenkovil, you should remember that we have done this earlier with respect to Pampa, Achenkovil and Vaipar river linking project. So these are considered as rivers overflowing in Kerala, though Kerala disputes regarding that too. So this is a central government interlinking project in which these two rivers will be linked with Vaipar river in Tamil Nadu, which is having deficit there. So irrigation facilities will be provided in Tamil Nadu. So this is a national interlinking project, river interlinking projects component. And presently this is regarding this tributary Kuttamperur. So here you don't need to, because UPSC will not ask you specifically. There is rare chance of this specific name being asked, but at least you can give an example in mains also in your answers that this Kuttamperur river was cleaned. And major problem in cleaning of rivers is funding and getting the project through. So here this was cleaned under the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. So in this scheme, work is generated. So this work of cleaning the river was generated. So waste, weeds dumped here were cleaned by manpower here employed. So this is the initiative taken. So it was a sum of 72 lakh that was spent on the project, and it was clean, and that was the spending done on the employees. So they were paid here. So this is regarding this, and it is also said that this will help, this river revival will also, cleaning will also help in controlling flooding. So Pampa and Achenkovil, as we said just now too, that these are overflowing rivers, they cause floods also. So when Pampa, Achenkovil are overflowing, the water can flow into this tributary Kuttamperur, and then it can save a large area from flooding also. So it has that significance as well. Plus it is also known for this Arattu festival. So this is also celebrated on the banks of this river, where idols of several temples are bathed. So that is the significance. So now a fresh new phase has been developed here because of cleaning of this river. Now freshwater fish growth is also taking place, and fishery activities can also take place. So fishermen also have a new hope now. And about this Arattu festival, about Kerala again, we have done Padmanabha Swami temple just 2 days back. It is in Thiruvananthapuram, capital of Kerala. So here this Sri Padmanabha Swami temple celebrates this Arattu festival, where the idols are bathed with much elegance and splendor. So it is known for that. It's a festival celebrated twice a year. So you should know that too. The next news item is new avenue for prisoners to get legal aid. So legal aid is provided through the judiciary. So this is assistance provided for those prison inmates, prisoners who cannot avail the facilities because of financial constraints as well. So this Supreme Court Legal Services Committee is there. So this has now inaugurated video conferencing system. So through this system, even the geographical and procedural barriers which are there in these under trial prisoners, prison inmates availing the legal services, filing their cases before the Supreme Court can be addressed. So this can be overcome. So this is technology brought in judiciary, plus also the social aspect, social welfare aspect. So for these under trial prisoners, that they can avail legal services. Next is breather for untrained teachers. So this is an amendment which has been cleared by the Union Cabinet, means it will be introduced in the Lok Sabha, means that executive has cleared it. So the government will put this proposal before the legislature. So this is amendment to Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009. So what we call as RT, right? In short, it is called Right to Education Act. So this 2009 Act will be amended because there is a provision in it. This is section 23(2), which says that all teachers at elementary level who at the commencement of this act did not possess minimum qualifications as laid down under this act, they should acquire these within 5 years. So means this is till 2015. So 5 years got over because it got implemented from 2010. So till 31st March 2015 they had to acquire. So since many have not yet acquired these minimum qualifications, the proposal for this amendment is to extend this time period from 2015 to 2019. So this is one more breather given so that they can get trained, acquire the minimum qualifications and continue, because it's very important to improve the quality of teaching so that learning outcomes of children also improve. So that is better trained teachers coming in. So that will be now a breather provided so that this can take place. So of course, you know about RT, it provides free and compulsory education to every child in the age group 6 to 14 years. So that is the basic provision in this act. And right to education is already a fundamental right too. That is under Article 21A, capital A. The next is law coming to enforce dam safety regulations. So the central government is proposing a bill, it's considering this, called dam safety bill. So there are many dams, around 5,300 dams in the country. Many are old dams, even 50 years old or more. So there is a need to improve the safety of these dams. So an institutional mechanism to ensure this will be proposed, and this is this bill, dam safety bill. So this can impose fines also if the regulations are not followed. So the Union Cabinet will approve it, and then it will be proposed before the Parliament. So there will be central authority and state level bodies which will be established to enforce the regulations. Already regulations are there, but in enforcement there are leeways, lacunae. So this bill will look into that aspect. So you can see that there are many cases also where because of dams not functioning properly, there have been incidents, plus also there are disputes on various dams too, that if dam heights are increased, it will result in threats to another region. So like in Mullaperiyar Dam, so this is a dam on Periyar River. Here Kerala and Tamil Nadu are fighting. So Kerala is it's fighting with Tamil Nadu because if Mullaperiyar Dam height is increased by it, then it would affect Kerala. Then Chennai floods of 2015 too. In this case also it is said that it was heavy rainfall, winter rainfall, which resulted in these floods, but it is also said that the impact was increased because of unprecedented release of water from this Chembarabakkam Dam into the Adiyar River in Tamil Nadu. So here this was also the problem. Then another case is of a large hydroelectric project dam which it released water unscheduled into Bias River and resulted in drowning of 25 students from Hyderabad. So such incidents also have taken place. Machu Dam failure in Morbi, Gujarat, it resulted in deaths of around 25,000 people. So this incident took place in 1979. So dam safety is extremely essential, and for this safety criteria will be included in this proposed bill. So like for example, the safety criteria will be there like regarding increasing the spillway. So increased spillway is a design structure to ease water buildup. So a spillway, if it's there, then water buildup will not take place, so that flooding and such incidents do not take place. So this spillway should be provided. Increasing that is one provision which is there as a safety criteria. Another one is preventing overtopping. Means dam overflow should be prevented. So that is the major cause for failure of dams too. So safety norms in this aspect will help in keeping the dams safe and not resulting in disasters. Next is Jaitley strongly defends PAN Aadhaar link. So Finance Minister has said that this amendment to the finance bill, which we discussed yesterday, which has been cleared by the Lok Sabha too, he says this is essential because PAN Aadhaar linkage will make sure that people who have duplicate PANs and then they evade taxes will not take place. So biometric information is part of Aadhaar. So that will ensure that multiple PAN cards are not linked as such to one person, and tax evasion can be controlled. So there should not be any criticism to this action which has been taken. So this is about Aadhaar. So Aadhaar is becoming mandatory for a slew of services which we are seeing presently. So for this particular aspect, PAN card linking, the defense or a reasoning is provided here. So you can see Pradhan Mantri, Kaushal Vikas Yojana, all this we discussed yesterday also. National Food Security Act, MGNREGA, pension schemes, scholarships. For many proposals, many schemes, this Aadhaar linkage has been made mandatory. The next is Supreme Court summons 9 chief secretaries. So this is being done because of a petition which has been filed by this NGO Swaraj Abhiyan. So this we have seen, it is seeking relief measures for farmers in drought affected states. So here now Supreme Court has summoned chief secretaries of 9 drought affected states. So chief secretary is the topmost administrative officer in the state. So these 9 drought affected states have been summoned, and they have been questioned because they have failed to implement the National Food Security Act 2013's provisions. So here food has to be ensured. So these farmer suicides which are taking place, why is this being caused in spite of there being regulations that food should be provided to them. So this, it says, is a matter of grave concern, because under this, state food commissions have to be set up mandatorily, but these states have not established them as well. So why no appointments have been taken place? This commission established is being questioned. Or district grievance redressal officer has to be designated, or appoint a new appointment they should take place for this under the National Food Security Act. Also, this has not been done. Also, it's questioning whether social audit, which should be conducted as it provided under the National Food Security Act, is it being conducted or not? So these questions are being raised, because relief has to be provided to these farmers, food security has to be ensured to them. So this questioning is taking place. Also, right to life is part of the fundamental rights in the Constitution under Article 21. So this gives a wide mandate that if these essential relief measures are not provided, then farmers in these drought affected states would starve and die. So this is about that. The next is China reaches out to West Asia. So this is regarding China's relations with West Asian nations. To be particular, it's talking about Israel, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Syria. So with Israel, recently a visit by Israeli Prime Minister took place, and in China, and here it is said that innovative comprehensive partnership. So China is saying that it is having this partnership on focus for maximizing absorption of Israeli technology. So Israel has various advanced technologies in various fields. So clean energy, agriculture, investment, finance, medical services, these have been identified as top priority areas. Also, this made in China strategy, which China has for 2025, it wants China's manufacturing to take place at advanced levels using higher technology. So internet, big data, robotics should be used, so Israel can cooperate in that. And also China is pursuing Industry 4 model. So what is this Industry 4 model? Means industrialization in its fourth phase. So first stage of industrialization was industrial revolution, when steam power was discovered. So machines were possible. Second phase of industrialization was when assembly line was developed. Means the entire assembly line in which quick manufacturing can take place. So that is second phase. Third phase of industrialization came with computerization. So computerization brought in third phase, automation. In fourth phase of industrial revolution, now this Industry 4.0 model means industrialization using the machines which are interconnected. So using Wi-Fi, etc. If these machines are interconnected, cyber physics. So through internet, these machines can work and can accomplish on its own. So that is the fourth phase of industrialization. So that is being worked on now. So that is what China is pursuing. Also, Israel and China relation also is been consolidated through Belt and Road Initiative, in which Israel hopes to participate. So this is OBOR, One Belt One Road Initiative. Then about Saudi Arabia, China's relation with Saudi Arabia, they say Saudi Arabia is presently having this Saudi Vision 2030 plan. So under it, it wants to reduce its dependence on oil. So we have seen that Saudi is suffering because of its dependence on oil, because when oil prices fall, then its entire economy is affected. So it does not want to have all its eggs in one basket for oil. So it wants to diversify. So that is in infrastructure development, health, education, tourism. So for infrastructure development specifically, China is a world leader, as we are seeing. So infrastructure investments are sought from China too by Saudi Arabia. So that is regarding the cooperation here. And it is also cooperating with Iran and Syria. So Iran and Syria actually rivals of Saudi Arabia. So there is a need for China to balance its relations too, because it's dealing with all of them. Also in Syria, China is preventing regime change, means it is supporting the present regime, Bashar al-Assad regime in Syria, along with Russia and Iran. So that is going against Saudi Arabia and the Western powers, USA and others. So this is again in Syria also it is involved. Then the next news item is Bankruptcy Board spells out eligibility. So this is regarding the recently established Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. So this body came up with its first case and it has given its order on that. So in this order, it has clearly stated that the insolvency professional registration, which was sought by the individual, is rejected. This application is rejected because he is working with one of the so-called Big Four consultancy firms. So person who is employed or in a he cannot be an insolvency professional. So he must not engage in any employment. It's specifically mentioned in the code. This is the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. under which this Board of India, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, has also been established. So this act was passed, this code was passed by Lok Sabha in May 2016, and now this board has been established in October 2016, and this is the first order which it has passed, and this is in news because this paves the way of how it would be functioning, because insolvency professionals have to be unbiased. So that is why they should not engage in any employment is important, and that has been emphasized in the right direction. So that is praised here. So entities that want to be registered as insolvency professionals will have to form a separate subsidiary with dedicated resources related to insolvency and bankruptcy work. So that is what it implies. You can see regulator. This is a regulator for overseeing insolvency proceedings and entities. So this includes setting up insolvency professional agencies, insolvency professionals as individuals, information utilities as such. So what this insolvency and bankruptcy code proposes to do is that it will speed up resolution process for stressed assets. So these stressed assets, non-performing assets, resolution means something has to be done about it. That's what it is about. That those who are insolvent means they cannot have any profitable business done now. They're going bankrupt. So what should be done with such stressed assets? They have to be resolved. So this simplifying this process will be facilitated through this insolvency and bankruptcy code and this regulatory body. So it will handle the cases using two tribunals, National Company Law Tribunal and Debt Recovery Tribunal. The next news item is 8 tribunals face X amid downsizing. So the central government has decided to wind up 8 tribunals. So tribunals are bodies which look into cases under various acts. So if there are any disputes under various acts, rather than going to the judiciary, these are tribunals which are set up. So these are administrative, having judicial functions too. So such appellate tribunals are also there. So these means in appeal, tribunals which stay in appeal. So these tribunals, 8 of them have been planned to be wound up, and such an amendment has been proposed in the finance bill and it has been approved by the Lok Sabha. So this is actually downsizing done, means tribunals who will be shutting down, their work, their function would be taken care by another tribunal which is already there. So that's what it is about, downsizing. You don't need to remember the names. Example is like Competition Appellate Tribunal will be wound up and its work will be transferred to National Company Law Appellate Tribunal. So each one which have been wound up, whom their function will go, all this will not be asked in competitive exams, at least not in UPSC at all. So you don't need to remember all that. Just the fact that tribunals have been downsized presently. Next news item is Mars may have had rings that it can possibly regain. So this is regarding a study which has come forth, so saying that Mars also once had rings. So these rings presently which we know around Saturn. So these rings are actually debris. Debris means it's actually an asteroid which had struck Mars around 4.3 billion years ago. So this resulted in debris coming out from it, and it went around it as this ring. So it looks like the ring. So these debris gradually move away from the Mars and they consolidated, came together and they formed the moon. So that's what it says. Debris slowly moved away from the planet and spread out. It began to clump and eventually formed the moon. So this is moon of Mars now. So now what they're saying is that the moon of Mars too, now it is seen. This is Phobos, one of the Mars moons. It is seen that it is getting closer to the planet. So as it gets closer and closer, when it reaches the Roche limit. So this Roche limit is the distance within which a planet's tidal force will break apart a celestial body that is held together only by gravity. So why are moons around the planets? They are moving around due to gravity. So gravity of the planet keeps them around it and they keep on moving. So when they are coming closer and closer, their tidal force is also there. So planet's tidal force will pull them and break them apart. So this celestial body will be broken apart. And when this celestial body is broken apart, again debris will be formed and that will become a ring for Mars. So they say this alternately takes place. Debris is formed, moon is formed, debris is formed, moon is formed. So that's what they are saying, that this is the theory. So Mars had rings that it can possibly regain. Then the next news item is a campaign to restore Pluto to Planet Club. So Pluto was a planet. We had 9 planets. Now there are only 8. Pluto was demoted to be a dwarf planet. So this decision was taken by International Astronomical Union in 2006 when it gave the definition of what is a planet and what is a dwarf planet. So this definition is also shown here. There are 3 points. All three should be satisfied for it to be called a planet. For dwarf planets, the first two satisfy, the third one not satisfied, then it is a dwarf planet. So since Pluto satisfies only the first two, it has been declared as a dwarf planet. So that's what it is, along with other objects too. So this is regarding that. So now there is a campaign which is planning that, which is proposing that Pluto should be restored to be a planet. So that will result in, why was it demoted to? Because it will result in many more celestial bodies to be declared as planets. So rather than increasing the number of planets to a whole lot, it was decided to categorize the others rest as dwarf planets. So that is there. So this present proposal is not important, but at least knowing about this is important. So Pluto and others who are there. So Kuiper belt is this beyond the 8 planets. So Pluto lies here too. So these are also all declared as dwarf planets, along with Ceres also. Ceres is the biggest object in the asteroid belt. So in the planetary system, solar system, the planets Mars and Jupiter, between them there is a belt of asteroids. So all these asteroids are located here. The biggest object in the asteroid belt, this is an asteroid itself. Ceres is also a dwarf planet. So Haumea, Make, Pluto, Ceres, these are all dwarf planets. So you can see here. Eris. So this definition of planets you should know. It orbits the sun directly. So of course they are orbiting the sun. Massive enough to be rounded by its own gravity. Means they are directly here, means what you should know, that it's not a satellite. So satellite, if Earth is moving around the sun, then moon is also moving around because it's going around the Earth only. So indirectly it is also going around the sun only. So orbits the sun directly, means not satellites. Then massive enough to be rounded by its own gravity. So you should know that these celestial bodies, they those which are not massive, like example asteroids. Asteroids are unevenly shaped. Ceres is the largest amongst the asteroids and it is evenly shaped. It is rounded. So why it is rounded? Because of the gravitational pull. So gravitational pull depends on the mass of the object. So this more the mass, more the gravitational pull. So at the center, the pull which comes, which results in these bodies getting rounded. So they give the round shape. If the mass is not much, then they will not have this pull, and that will result in them having uneven shape. So that is there. So massive enough to be rounded by its own gravity. So this also both satisfy planets, dwarf planets. The last one is has cleared the smaller bodies from its orbit, and they have not cleared. So clearing the neighborhood, that is the term used. What does this mean? Clearing the neighborhood means that planet should be a dominant gravitational body in their orbit. Means wherever they are orbiting, they should be dominant, so that others are cleared out. So they should not have others who are intermingling with them. So that was not the point which was not satisfied for Pluto. So that is why it was demoted. So the planet has to cruise its orbit while consuming or slinging away smaller objects in its orbital paths. Consuming means they become its satellite or they move away. So that's how it should be. They're slung away because of the pull. And this Pluto, it says Pluto's is only 0.007 times the mass of other objects in its orbit. So that is why, since it could not clear its neighborhood, that is why it was demoted to a dwarf planet. Then the last news item is 25% of global TB cases in India study. So this is actually a fact that India has the highest burden of TB cases globally. About 25% of all cases are in India. But another fact which has come out in this study is that there are more urban individuals per year infected by TB than in rural areas. So that is there. Plus, in urban areas, TB infection that does not last as long as in rural areas. So rural areas, they remain infectious for more time than in urban areas. So the example is given, like an urban TB case will infect an average, say 12 people per year. So if this is the case in rural area, it will infect on an average 4 people per year. But then in urban areas, infection will last for about 1 year. But in rural areas, it may last for about 2 years. So this study is showing this case of urban and rural TB cases. So there are different interventions needed, different strategies needed to deal with TB cases in urban and rural areas. So that is it. Thank you.